Hey everybody, so I decided to, maybe I'll do that. I decided to go ahead and give Relic the rebuild that he's been waiting for. It's only been a day. I said I was going to throw it on the shelf and wait. The reason why I'm not waiting is because one of the plans was I was going to upgrade the axles on Relic. I've thought about it for a long time. But see, the issue is, with Relic, space is extremely confined. The front is slightly narrower than it was when it was stock, and it's also been dovetailed at the back, but the back part doesn't have anything to do with the functionality of the front. The servo tucks up into the chassis like so. You can't see that at all. Like so when it flexes, or when it compresses. And if I wanted to go to Traxxas portals, or almost any portal, the problem with them is most of them are running a panhard with a chassis mount servo. I can't run a chassis mount servo. I have to go stick to an axle mounted servo. Sorry. But everything that I seem to look at, because like here's a Bronco still in pieces, I haven't put it back together yet. It has 3-link as well, and there's no place for a 4th link. I'm sure it can be done. It's just that I don't feel like waiting for the time to do it, and plus I do have the parts at home here to fix Relic. So these are the little plastic parts there. There's a parts bag. Ignore the price because these have been in the drawer forever. But these are the cups that go onto the ring. You'll see in a moment. There's the axial, or the center locker. A little bit better look. There's an axial focus. Little axial center locker. It even has. Can you see the axial symbol on there? Can you see it? Can you see it? Okay. There's a locker that goes in. So what happens is this piece fits into I can hear Molly doing the backstroke on the couch upstairs. That dog's hilarious. She keeps me so entertained. Oh, I said her name. She might have heard it. She's getting old, but she's not deaf. She just likes to ignore me. Speak of the devil. So this is what a new one looks like. Oh, try and get back to the light. Can you see? It's kind of what a new one looks like. Hopefully you guys can see that. The lighting at... Oh, there, I'll get a reflection. Hi, Molly. There's what that piece looks like. And of course, this piece fits in there. There's 2 slots up and bottom for that guy, and the 2 bits on there. That fits into there. Ring gear goes on. Axle shaft. That spins inside the axle housing. Drives the tires. Geez, it doesn't get much more basic than that, eh? Taki dog. Hi. You guys want to say hi? Come here. Ah, there's Molly. So good dog. Big baby. Yeah, you're a big baby. A little bit of dog scratching. Yeah, I love you too. Now get over here. Okay, so I'll do a quick little teardown, and then I'll show you guys the pieces that are coming out, how dry and dirty and crappy it is in there, and then we'll fix the rear. We'll be done with the rear axle because I don't have another 4-link bar. And then transmission, I might as well open the front diff and grease it at least. It seems to be behaving just fine, but it's making a lot of noise. Maybe we should do that real quick. I'm on. Okay, just a second. Okay, so just a sound test. So everything kind of rests in places or nothing's touching anything. So I don't know how much of that you can hear. I don't know if it's picking up my voice very well or... Yeah, there's just sounds unhealthy. So let me tear her into this guy and we're going to get her smooth again. I made a fool's mistake. I've been talking for like 10 minutes doing work. Camera wasn't recording. So what I've done is I ripped apart the rear. I showed that I don't take off the tires from the axles. I just pulled them out because that bearing's staying in there. The old one I've already thrown in the garbage. It was a comical display and everything. Now it's covered in dog hair. So try and ignore the dog hair. That's what I have to do every day because I love Molly. She loves to shed. So that guy's rounded off in there. So that plastic should be square. I've already put it on. But I showed you guys earlier, thankfully, what a fool I am. A fool. So, yeah, I'm so disappointed in myself right now. Alright, time for a little bit of marine grease. So we're going to go all over the pinion that's in there. Make sure that gets a nice little coating. I do a little bit on the outside, right where that bearing's going to sit from the lockout. We'll do that. Or no, that's where the axle carrier bearing is. It's some kind of bearing. And we go around on the outside of this guy where the bearing's going to go, and then on the outside of this guy where that bearing's going to go. We slap on. Slap on. Why isn't that slapping on? Oh, I'm starting to think these are the wrong bearings. Alright, I'm back again. Got the proper bearings this time. I think they actually are the same size as the knuckle ones, actually. It could be. Oh, yeah. Beautiful. Gotta love the feeling of new bearings, man. So, and then we're going to give it a little bit of a ring on the, right where the seal is on the bearing. Both sides. I don't know why I do that accent now and then. Lighting is always a difficult thing for me there. Fuck us. So yeah, just a little ring of that, and then of course you do the big ring, the pin or the ring gear. Get that nice and coated. And again, I always forget that there's new guys joining all the time. So this is my little greaser. It's from, just says marine grease, dynamite on the end. I think you can get it from pretty much any of your local hobby shops, or probably many places online have these guys now. This will just slip back in there. Bearings are sitting properly in their spot. Filthy, filthy diff case. I don't mind having stuff on the outside where it goes to like this part. I don't mind having crap built up in there because it actually helps stop water from going in. But also seeing as how you can see through this diff. You see that? That diff is broken. Right there. Can you see that? Maybe that side's a little bit better. Yeah, it's broken. You can see inside of it. It's worn so thin right where the gear mesh is. So, yeah, there's no keeping this truck dry. That's going to be so much better now. Oh, I need another piece of paper towel before I get all my tools too dirty. You don't want a dirty tool. Tell you what. Keep your tools clean. She'll be coming back for more. So this top screws, there's actually a metal hex, so I don't mind that part. That's so thin now. It kind of bubbled there when I put it back together. Get the focus, there it is. Oh, watch this. Oh, wait, I'm blocking the light. You can actually flex the plastic. That's how thin it is in the axle housing now. But you ain't dead yet. God, I love this truck. Alright, the rest of it is going to be quick and easy, because this is the part that I filmed taking it apart and why I use a little Ryobi, because it's speed. Once you get the hang of RC, it's just like anything, whether you're learning how to solder, you're learning how to drive, you name it. Once you get good at it, you just get the feel for just about anything. And you just kind of know after a while. So I don't recommend a drill if you're new. Even if you're like, say you're an HVAC guy or a plumber guy or construction or something where you get to use these kind of tools all the time. You never know what it's like to drill a tiny little screw into plastic until you've done it a couple times. And you get the feel for it. Those in there. Now I'm going to put the screws back into the 4-link bar. I am going to add, so the housings, or the axle housings on the old Gen 1 axials. I guess I haven't really even said the name of it in the video yet, but this is a Gen 1 axial SEX10. And I think they all came 3-link, and 4-link was the upgrade back in the day. Even though it wasn't servo chassis mount or chassis mounted servo or anything like that, it was still the thing back then. God, that bugs me. Well, not bugs me, it's cool. I'm still looking at the diff. It's just wild. But I'm trying to get it to mesh up with the... God. No, that's not strong enough. It's one of the pieces of plastic is like folded inside the diff, and I'm trying to get it out. Ah, well. It's wild, I tell you. Okay, so let's get there. We're going to do a little bit of a zip tie here. A little bit over. Okay, so the 4-link bar, the piece that wraps around, it'd be impossible for me to show you in the video, but the piece that wraps around to the front of the axle housing that the screw goes into from the back of the housing, there's a little vertical pole that goes up and down. And I'm zip tying around that, and then the mount for a servo plate, because the axial axles are, you can use them front and back. You just have to change out C-hubs for lockouts, and then that's done. So the rear end is about as strong as I can make it. Make your jokes. So I know I'm thinking them. And you just slide this sucker back on. I know you can't see most of this, but you get the drift. So that's going to find its way into that new locker. There it is. Same thing with this guy. This is why I don't take the wheels off. This is way easier. Just line up the lockout. It only goes on one way. I guess two technically. You just give this a twist till she fits on, and that's in like so. Then you grab 2 little screws. Like a so. And I like a so. And I think these screws are about 4 mil long. I know I probably have a manual somewhere that'll tell me the exact length, but again, it's just experience after a few years. You just kind of know what screw is what length. Somebody's like, oh, I'm going to use this screw for that. I'm like, that's not long enough. And that happens. Yeah, that's it for the rear. Now I'm just going to take the front apart and grease it. Everything feels nice and tight in there. Feels good. So I'm not going to show you that part just because it's going to be boring. I'm just going to crack it open, put grease in it, take it and put it back together again. The transmission though, that's going to be interesting. We'll see how that goes. Alright, so I whipped together the front. Well, took it apart. Did the same thing basically. 2 screws on each C-hub. Those off. Tires come off. I undo the servo horn. All that assembly comes off. 4 screws to crack the axle, plus the 2 that hold the 4-link bar into the top of the axle. Cracked it open, fill it with grease, slap it back together again. All the bearings in there seem just fine. If you guys have seen some older videos of Relic getting work done to him, he's had in the front axle Boom Racing bearings since, well, a really long time. And I looked it up this morning actually. I was going on YouTube and trying to catch up with other people's uploads, like Sean of RC Adventures and Medics videos. I'm like almost, well, I was 2 weeks behind on Medics. I've watched a few. I'm getting caught up there now finally. It's difficult. So yeah, I'll give you guys a shout out. Thanks. Because I know how much fun it is to try and catch up on videos if you fall behind. You go to a channel and, holy crap, I'm 7 videos behind. And sometimes they're long. Oh yeah, that was in there good. Motor screws are usually pretty tight, but I just had those on and off yesterday. Come on, get off there. Some of you may be thinking, oh, this is the perfect time to change out your pinion. I think I'm going to stick with what I got going on there. Excuse me, sir. That charger, man, I tell you, it's so weird. Oh, I wish I had a beer. Yeah, you guys are like, how come we don't have a beer? Is it too early in the morning? It's actually about 11, I'd say, right now. And yeah, I'm beerless. I also have no gas in the car. Well, not no gas. I have enough gas to go to work. But yeah, there's a rum out in, or a rum. There is a run in Drumheller today, so the boys are, I don't know, an hour and a half into it, I guess, or so, or 2 hours into it. They started at 10. I originally planned to go, but I just don't have the money. Happens. Life happens. Okay, where are we at? I'm still using this, the drill as much as I can. Don't go too far. Come on. I don't think there's 2 screws. Nope, that's just on there. Good old side cutters. Pop that right off. No problem. Ooh, that one was barely in there, but I've never had a, or not never, but it's pretty rare to have an MIP pop off. Loctite, people, underestimated. I can't believe how little some people use. Or none sometimes. I've seen guys do it so many times on the trail. They lose their pinion. I'm like, oh wow, how'd you lose your pinion? Like, I don't know. I give them another one because I got loads of them and I don't mind helping people fix their trucks. Now, you want some Loctite? No, it'll be fine. I'll Loctite it when I get home. What are you making it home? Dirty. Yeah, you gotta Loctite that stuff, man. It's one of the most vibrating and moving pieces of the entire vehicle. You got to, you gotta Loctite, man. Gotta Loctite. Can't wait for Mother Nature's Loctite to kick in. That'll just take too long. 7 mil. Right onto the nut. So there's a spur gear that makes a whole bunch of noise. I don't know how many of these you guys do. It's a black steel from Robinson Racing. 32 pitch, 54 tooth, I think, or something. I could be way off on that. I can't remember. But whatever the stock tooth is on the 32 pitch for an axial that matches the 85 or 80, I can't remember, 80 something. Been too many years. We'll slide that guy off. Get that out of there. There's different styles of shafts. Myself personally, I prefer the flat shaft style because the other style is that shaft comes out and then a little tiny pin goes through it. I used to shear those pins like crazy. And I flipped over to the flat style and I haven't had an issue since. So there's a little bit of play in there and a chunk of noise, but we're going to try and clear that up here. So this is also one of those times where I'll take out the pick and before I dig in, because transmissions are greasy, let's face it, and well, you want them to be, but on the assembly there's usually a little bit of grease left over that makes it into the screw holes or to the heads of the screw, and then mud and dirt build up in there over time. You don't want to be stripping screws out even if it's a 2.5. It's best to clean out those screws before you put a tool to them. Now, these 3 screws, there's 4 that sandwich this thing together. One of them you need a set of pliers for, which is kicking around here somewhere, or a proper socket on your little wrench, but I'm okay with a chunk of pliers. Chunk of pliers? Yeah, that's right, I said it. When I go to reassemble this guy, I will not be using the tool. I will hand thread, because you get very little threads that come out of there. And then they go, come on, you get very little threads that come out of those places, and it goes into this thin plate that's your motor plate. And you don't want to strip those out, because that sucks. Because you can't like put a nut on the other end, because that's where the spur gear is. So you got to be careful on those ones. It really sucks when you do that, because then the transmission is basically garbage. And again, I'm rocking the side cutters. I love these things. Side cutters are great for getting stuff off when you can't really get your fingers at it, or if it's a little tougher than your finger strength. Okay. Come on. Oh yeah, tons of wiggle. See how much rim there is in there? Alright, let's see, come on, waiting for the focus. You guys see how much play is in there? So that's the, I think they call it the idler gear, possibly. It's the middle gear. So I'm going to change the bearings out on that guy. I know I have lots of these bearings kicking around. There we go. So the center pin came out and brought one bearing with it. That was nice of it. I got to try and get the other one out, which is always fun. Maybe I'll get lucky. And I did. That came out no problem, which means the grease was still alive. Mother Nature had not kicked in yet. We're going to be changing all the bearings on... That's again a Robinson Racing output I used. I think they actually call that a diff gear, if I remember correctly. It's been a long time since I bought one. But guys who are snapping off the outputs, get in there. Come on. Anyways, you know what it is. The guys are snapping outputs. I never have, and Christ, you couldn't put really much more of a more powerful system in a Relic, so he gets abused, and I have never snapped an output. So I don't know if it's vehicle setup, because I get loads of traction and I got loads of power. If I'm going to brake, like if that was a weak point, it should have broken by now. And then I got the top gear here. Yeah, I'm just doing an all bearing replacement, I think, on this guy. All the gears seem to be looking good. All the bearings are slightly sloppy. It's almost a that's what she said joke, isn't it? I know a couple of you were thinking of it, and I'm proud of you, but I don't think it applies. Maybe if I would have said ball bearings. Stabby, stabby. Okay, everything's apart. I need 6 of those, 2 of those. Excuse me. No, excuse it. Well, I'm going to have to cut. I got, I guess, 2/3 of the truck done. Transmission's apart. Everything came apart nicely. I'm pretty happy about that. Inside the transmission, it requires 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bearings. And I have 4 out of the 6 bearings. I looked in my backpack. I looked in the parts drawer. There's nowhere else I keep bearings. I'm not stealing bearings out of another truck. That's just crazy. But, yeah. I'm stuck. I can't go any further. I'm slightly embarrassed about that because, yeah, I was hoping to run a new truck, or a new sounding truck anyways. I even have a new top gear for the transmission. I've had that kicking around forever. The drive gear, they're calling it. That goes onto the back of the shaft here. Right there, that goes out to the spur gear. Takes a beating. They get chewed up. So you can change that too. But yeah, I got 2 big bearings for the bottom, the 2 little bearings for the middle, but I need 2 more bearings for the top. I need 5 by 10 by 4, and I've got like 3 packs of 5 by 11 by 4. Not sure why, but I got them. Alright, well, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. The next video hopefully shows me getting the 2 more bearings, finishing this, and then taking Relic for a new test drive, because he should be super smooth. Yeah. Alright, thanks for watching.